Welcome, welcome to the lovely IHP community and the 5D collective. We have a full moon, and as always, with the ascension energies for the 5D collective at least, we expand. Why? Because you do the self mastery. So, with self help, personal development, spiritual growth, development, all of that, we'll talk more about it in tomorrow's audio episode, which was planned for today, but it wasn't able to get out. So I'm going to give you the gist of it now, and we have been talking about it in our previous days as well. So the elite tier of emotional invincibility are the people, mystic, spiritual, and mindful, or not, just people who pursue self mastery because they have a whole self. And so, with all the ascension energies, every year of my life, I'm 45, I've been expanding as a pure piece of consciousness. Is it that straightforward? Yes, but it is a little bit of a here's the test. You don't lose people. The opposite of what the spiritual bypassers of the 43D collective tell you, and the savior complex people. So if you're expanding, if you're actually building self-mastery, you are growing more compassionate because you're growing more flexible because you know how to use an integrated brain. I'm attachment trauma informed. So while I am a worrywart as a perfectionist, and I also have other personality patterns, I like the PDP framework a lot better because my subcortical brain areas are actually what lead me. But to give you the gist of it, since I have a bunch of the actual Enneagram stuff here, and some of it is pretty applicable as you grow into becoming more of a healthy perfectionist. You know, imperfection is always, and you're composed, critically aware, and ethical, but you're also going to be I'm going to storytell, I curse, I do all this shit. So, with that, I'm confident and content. I don't know, we'll ask somebody, but I do know how when the ascension energies have come about, when I began with all of twin flame, flames, and soulmates, the 4D have stories for you, which pisses the fuck off of an empowered feminine. So when you hear anyone who's not empowered as a feminine, because you all have your own deer, that's what we talked about yesterday, remember? So let me share with you all the messages that we had. If you did tune into them yesterday and the day before, you'll hear some repeat, but it's okay, right? Because you don't have to stay. You can also fast forward. The elite tier of emotional invincibility, mystic, spiritual, and mindful people have mental, emotion, physical mastery. So you have a whole self. Again, you're using your prefrontal. Means you get to be the observer, but also the person who's aware, accountable, and regulating. So you don't use your exiles, shadow parts, or maladaptive behaviors. And if you do ever in a room with anyone, you know how to say, I'm sorry, this, and I am going to actually beyond just have a conversation where I get to tell you how I feel about something. So I'll use me. I get to have triggers still with my mom and my twin. And when that happens, while in the moment nothing comes out of it, it's once I calm down. The last time it happened, it was a year or two ago? I forget, with my twin. And I then went up and went to talk, and I had a conversation, and I did mention this is what triggered and this is why, not justifying it, just letting you know. And that's part of the equation. So you work with yourself like Manny, Diego, and Sid do. Okay, so it's nobody expects anybody to be perfect because we're all humans, but Zen master, please. You have laundry, we don't. Securely attached, non-traumatized people, we self-regulate. And those who get earned secure attachment is because they choose to do therapy with Patrick Chan, Terrio, someone, whatever it is. Then they actually walk a walk and talk a talk. So they don't use Cusco's mannerisms, which means some will want to say manipulate, gaslight, all that. I don't use any of these words. Anyone who is Pacha is Pacha, and anyone who's Cusco and Pacha in the making will be someone who will know how to clearly address the situation, because they will know, like every person that I've met that's a Cusco without wanting to be a Pacha though. So the ones who stay codependent and unhealthy, yes, they allow themselves to justify, oh, but Maria, all people are assholes, so I'm going to continue bringing forth my spite. I'm going to continue allowing myself to flip-flop and That's called safety behavior. It's actually an inner outer critic, which is why it's a maladaptive pattern of behavior. So a person who's aware of it is not actually going to be ascending or expanding, and that's why they may be a mystic. I'm a healer. How dare you trauma dump? You're a spiritual bypasser. How dare you talk to somebody like that who didn't do anything except for write you an email? You were reactive. Did you notice it? Did you notice if someone tells me, don't you think you're a little bit too charged? I might be like, wait, let me think. Okay, you know what? In this occasion, you're right. In that occasion. So I'll look at it and then I'll evaluate. And then as a mindfulness practitioner, I won't take it and be like, oh my God, I'm so offended. As you get older, so self-mastery is this. As you get older, you're not upset. If I'm a 15-year-old version, that's why they say you change. I say, no, I've expanded. Why? Because I've participated consciously with my choosing. So that's a securely attached, non-traumatized, self-led human being in front of you. That's all this is, ventral vagal state. Okay, so when you get to have clairs, you don't say, oh, I'm anointed. No, you say, oh, my human makeup. Everyone can do it. And you can do it too. The ones who want to be a special group, again, say hi, flat earthers, how you doing? Okay, so why I'm playing with words right now? Because when someone said, it's not like the securely attached people are an elite tier of emotional invincibility. They just got a strong foundation. No, we're an elite tier of emotional invincibility avoidant who is not doing anything to get yourself out of it. I mean, really, you look fancy in your suit though. So the inside counts, and you'll know the difference once you move into emotional invincibility, because it's called, I have a window of tolerance that expands to affect and to my sensations and to my images. Y'all can thank my panic attacks for this. So I won't read all of it, but as the lion, you are a complete master of your self-transformation and the fire element. So you pursue personal and spiritual growth. You do this with the epitome of peace and strength thanks to the tiger. I have definitely matured to be more flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, but I still get the same irritability and frustration as when I was a kid. I just don't share it and I don't feel the need to. And furthermore, if someone actually uses a very vulnerable moment that I have had with them in a very inappropriate and what's the word? When you use my vulnerability as an object to throw at me because you're in some kind of situation of your own, well, I'm not going to mention what happens next, because that's the part of where this betrayal word, it's not betrayal, it's called people that do trauma time without taking ownership of their emotional layers and their mental layers. They're not doing their job at becoming better versions of themselves. I do a job, yes. Am I perfect? No, but you better bet I'm not a person who's going to apologize. We're not decent enough to be saluted to an unhealthy self-worth human being, but I won't say it's not about decency. I had nothing against this person. Don't want to be your friend. In the entire evening, I get to behave in a way that I'm proud of, because I'm not going to treat you, one, like a little piece of shit, because that's really not good manners. Two, you have been shamed in your own home. Some shit's going down. You could take ownership of it with a Patrick Tan or Terry Real. You don't. In fact, the next time I see you, you say, at least you looked at me, which is a passive aggressive, which Janina Fisher will tell you it's not. And I'll say, yes, it is, Janina, because he's not in the therapy seat with you. But no, Patrick Tan, he's not an asshole, because really, you know exactly what happened to him. He's a distorted past-self version of himself who has low self-esteem, indirect communication. He's passive aggressive. His passives through him. And I got to put up with him an entire evening, and guess what I got told? Are you sure you're not too serious? Did you say it right, Maria? You didn't tell him you didn't like him. None of people said, wow, you're a healthy, self-worth, securely attached, non-traumatized human being, Maria. No, it's 4-year-old Maria. You're serious. So they sent you home because you wanted to sit them down and read. So I already know how to handle any of that, which is, well, to the serious, thanks for your opinion. To the, did you tell him I didn't speak anything? I didn't give mixed messages. So, I mean, really, I besides giving him the cold shoulder, which you told me is what works, men, that's the way. I'm supposed to be an evil bitch, because otherwise you don't understand. So I'll be the evil bitch. I don't give a shit. Snoot, call me whatever you want. At least you'll leave me alone. I'm 4'9", so really I'm not giving you mixed messages. No, Mom, no. I didn't tell him I didn't like him. I did the polite thing that you told me, which is if I can't say something nice, not to say anything at all. And I'm 4'9". There you go. So this is the part of where when people say, oh, but speak up where? What? Did you not just hear I told you, hey, they have trauma. I'm not going to be mean to my brother who has trauma, who doesn't want to go get it healed. And there you go. So here at IHP, only the elite are going to be here. Emotionally invincible. You don't hit and life don't hit you down, Sylvester. Please stop. No, I love you, Sylvester. I love all people, though. Then again, I'm polyamory. See, I don't love anyone. I love all people equally. I like all people equally. And when people can't handle it, they sit me down and say, so who you save when the earth is over? Well, I would say myself, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to ask first if my younger sister would rather stay alive. If she says no, then I'll say, okay, you mind if I save myself then? Because I really want to live till I'm like, I don't know, 1,000,000 years of age. I love being alive. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be fine because intelligence always wins. So I'm not afraid of Lucifer. Lucifer doesn't exist. The smart people are actually brilliant for real. And the ones who are not brilliant, they're in destructive mode. So they represent no threat because also they don't actually clear their conscious. So with that, we have a body, mind, heart, and self anchored in ventral energy, which they say, and that's why they won't be near us. And we do have strength thanks to the tiger. The tiger is where you are the embodiment of your whole self. That's who's going to be here right now. And the full moon to me is also giving me a lot of good things to do, which is composed, critically aware, ethical. I mean, really ethical. I don't know. Am I? Some people say I am. Some people say, no, you're polyamory. You're unfaithful. I say, excuse me, you don't obviously know what polyamory means. And we have vessels, by the way, but also it's private, but it's called consensual non-monogamy. And I see that you're monoamory. Why are you chiming in again? Oh, you just want to be a part of the conversation. Sure, you can be, but if I'm defining my own status and you're correcting me, I'm pretty sure you're trying to tell me what I am, which I'm going to leave alone because I am confident and content to allow the little Cuscos in the room to have their say so that they can feel that they're participating in today's era. And that's cool because, hey, at least you're expanding. So your ease in darkness, yes, that's called Maria's confident. And that's because my child parts don't need anybody's permission to be anything, let alone any. I mean, really, it's words. I play with words all the time. I have a good time with them because my facade friend, as he points out, you're a hypocrite. I said, no, I'm not. I got two sides of the brain working. That's all. But the lunar force, yes, the ability to think and feel with ease and the compassion, discernment, equanimity that you have is that you don't fear anything. When you're of spirit, you don't fear. And when you are of God, you also know God doesn't give you more than what you can handle. So with this inner emotional mental balance, you're passionate, you are strong and soothed from within, and you are using healthy self-soothing ways. And the lion's self-mastery pursuits and the tiger's ease in darkness, those are your ability to put into practice mindfulness with mindset skills and the inner growth mindset. This gives you access to the deer's feminine nurturing essence. And actually, I'll share with you the deer because we didn't get to give her enough of the space that she deserved in the other day that we talked about the deer and the phoenix and the tiger and the lion and tarantula and the... Okay, so wait a minute. There's our deer. Please share with me this moment. Look at vulnerability. This is earth, if I remember correctly, the symbol. Okay, so in balance, the deer, that feminine of every human being, doesn't matter if you're like, you're probably a masculine, it's okay, be an empowered masculine, you can do it, big girls and big boys cry, it's okay, just pause and allow yourself to know that every person, man or woman, or they will be like, because that's where, but I like vulnerability with the vulnerable people. That's what we're going to get to build, functional child adults. There's a child inside of every person. All they wanted was to be not Bambi's story, a better version of Bambi's story. That's why we say yes to healing trauma and we don't bring it into tomorrow. Thanks, Patrick Tan, for what you do, because he gets to make those who didn't get to start life with this into what they can be. Because life does not hit you, and it's not about it being a shithole if you want to be a real phoenix. If, on the other hand, you want to be a pretend phoenix, you can be a fancy man and woman in suit who tell you all about how they're not emotionally invincible. They just got a strong foundation. But wait till they spiral. When? When you give me mixed messages? Apparently you don't know the smart ones of us, because I don't do mixed messages. I got places to be, things to do. Teenage boyfriend, make up your fucking mind. It's the third year, almost fourth, and the third time. I mean, really, it ain't that hard to decide what you want. Do you want me or not? That's how easy it is for an empowered feminine, which is why we don't go into saga and we don't get tested by anyone. And those who do want to watch their fucking back can spend time ruminating, and really, certainty of anger is your downfall. It's unfortunate business, because the Lion King gets taught with the balance. It's the circle of life. And anybody who tells me if you're an animal lover, you don't eat animal, yeah, okay, that's not the balance. That's an extremist. And there are people who call their children Dharma, and they live nothing of Dharma. But I know the relationship soul age group. Like I know the enlightenment soul age group. And like I know actually securely attached, non-traumatized human beings who are self-led and healthy self-worth and compassionate and amazing to hang around. So again, let me get back to our dear. She is loving, intuitive, graceful, receptive, compassionate, nurturing, and when out of balance, concerned and protective. Okay, so I'm going to stop and leave the rest alone. If you want, you can check out the readings from the previous days. This one's for our full moon. So when you are a worrywart, you get to be concerned and protective. And as an empowered feminine, I get to thank all of those who are masculines for why I do not use my time in worrying. Also, 3D, 4D is not going to move out of karma. They're going to, they talk about themselves a whole bunch, and in very many ways. We instead tend to are mouse and elephant. So the elephant doesn't get scared of the mouse. We tend to the small things. We keep our fire lit. We keep our third eye open because we keep our heart open. And you get to also tune into the golden egg if you want. Okay, so if you're new and you haven't, there's a couple. There's one with the golden egg, and there's shorts, and then there's extended. Okay, so being able to be vulnerable, this means that I'm authentic, transparent, but that I'm with a person who doesn't use any of my sad tears and moments against me in conversation, and or in any way, shape, or form in ways that are petty. So people will know when they're being petty, and that's the minute that a person who is actually in a comfort with who they are, safe haven, secure base, will not be mentioning and negotiating. We don't negotiate with emotionally unavailable and immature people. A man who says that secure attachment is not elite, invincible emotion tells me everything about himself. He doesn't know how to be emotionally invincible. And in fact, the minute you tell me that secure attachment is going to spiral down in a hellhole of brain, you don't know how a brain works that is integrated. Because if you did, then you'd know that I walk like an Egyptian, because I'm using my prefrontal. So I won't be spiraling. I'll be conversing, and then I'll be evaluating, and I'll be metabolizing, and I'll be breathing. And that's how easy it is then, Master. If only you would try, instead of judging the human species and thinking that no one can be enlightened because you follow, Buddha, I'm about to make fun of you a minute, suffering, and this life, this very existence, I'm a Christian Catholic, there ain't no suffering. It's Jesus died for my sins. How dare I suffer even one moment when he bore a cross? That's how literal, by the way, I am. So my catechist taught me that I get to be free of that which is not being connected to God, thanks to Jesus. And the Buddha thing, he sat under a tree. I love you, Buddha. I know what you serve now. You serve ventral vagal toning exercises. And you serve a lot of other things for people who will achieve enlightenment. For those who will be spiritual bypassers is a whole different story, because, I mean, gosh darn it, they're not achieving the level of vulnerability that they could. They're not overflowing in their humanity, Sadhguru, so they don't know how to be with the divinity descending, mean and pure consciousness, because they don't have a whole self. They're not a self-master yet. So when the tarantula hits, the tarantula don't hit you. It nudges you softly, unless you got a bad start. And that's why telling me that you think secure attachment will spiral down tells me that you don't know secure attachment, because I do. And that's why a phoenix who rises from the ashes doesn't rise with a venomous tooth and righteousness, but they rise from the ashes because of knowing the passion of Christ. At least in my case, that's where Jesus, love you, man. So when you learn, forgive, turn the other cheek, blessed are those who believe without seeing, and that my brothers and sisters are all the same, and that I get to choose. Am I going to be kind to you and open-hearted, or am I going to lie and not be kind to you and open-hearted? Tick-tock, tick-tock. So when you do know how to commit to being this, you're an 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 who says, yep, I'm going to stay vulnerable. I pick you and then you and you and you and you, and you're all out and everybody else was out. And that's when you begin to be an adolescent and you got your first new alloparenting group. So I'm attachment trauma informed. So for me, it's been pretty straightforward and easy to move here. And when this is actually something that you know what it feels like, you know also how to keep it to yourself. So in a full moon, all I can tell you is that I do great and dandy every time I'm expanding because more of Maria comes forth. Those who don't know how to do this, we perceive, at least I know how to perceive the safety behaviors. The Cuscos, they are bountiful and they get not to process their own emotional stuff. But the ones who are instead tender and sweet and kind and able to, one, you apologize when you do things. So I get to apologize to my twin and my mom every now and then because my 3-year-old comes up. And I have a lovely family, so we all get to be imperfect and flawed. But like Manny, Diego, and Sid, those who are vulnerable with each other, they have the safety and the compassion and the love of that herd. And they know that they bring in differences. But the part about being able to take ownership with your prefrontal is what makes a difference. Because there are those who will consistently harbor areas of fear that are perceivable. And those are the ones who are being continuously given the opportunity to, one, be there securely attached to your 1-year-old. So you don't spiral in a hellhole if you have mindset, the inner growth, and then you process, because you have mindset skills, sensations, images, feelings, and thoughts. This is your self-mastery, okay? So it's not God's punching me or life's punching me or what does resilience even mean? It means that if you're going to do it that way, your left mode ain't helping you. That's why your chit-chatter mindset is everything. So, oh, look, I have anger, fear, upset, I'm frazzled. You use the word of the emotion, and then you evaluate, and then you put into practice in one, safe space people, and that's only the ones who you know welcome you. And they don't do characterological distinctions. You know who they are. 2, what are the things that I do that make me happy inside? It's all on you. If you choose to allow you stress, then you will have it. If you don't, you won't. And that's where it doesn't get easier or harder. And the Zen master calls it laundry. He's choosing to stall and stagnate at a specific frequency. While those of us who don't, we know exactly. So let me use, you don't use the past to determine the future if you're smart and emotionally invincible, because you're a self-master and because you don't use stereotypes and generalizations. That's where this seeker is, which is why the truth can imprint itself upon me. I know my biases, I know my past, I know my implicit, explicit memory. I'm an intelligent mind. Intelligent mind knows, you have ego and self. So does Maria trust all human beings? Excuse me? What kind of a question is that? No, it's a case-by-case situation, and really it's a blanket statement, and every human being is a different person. And then I would have to think of all my 45 years of life, and really you're asking something that doesn't have a straightforward answer, and I don't want to talk to you right now. And I won't do any of that. I'll just say something probably I'll just say, no, I can't do this right now. It's too much to talk about for me, and there you go. Okay, so just giving you random examples, but when you have people who are not aware, accountable, regulating, okay, that's what I thank the attachment trauma educators for, is because they taught me how to know not to be a worry-wart from here, because no one is going to choose to be actually who they are unless they're functional child adults, is how I'm going to break it down to you. That means that in every one of our interactions, there's a open-hearted individual, and then there's also a consistency of you bringing to me the opportunity to be safe with you always. And that means you don't use my emotions against me, my thoughts against me, my story against me. And the against me is a teenage word, because the reality is, as an empowered person, you will notice that it's not against you when you're experiencing and living your dharma versus karma, because you'll know who you are. So you'll know that people will use what you will be speaking. And if they have used it in a low frequency, that's because they have an exile, protector, or safety behavior. And it's for them to take ownership, accountability, and then to bring forth the actions speak louder than words, but it starts with the words. I'm sorry, and here's where, da 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 da, and I'm going to continue to, and there you see it, because that's what Pacha does. So the part of our 5D collective is we are the self-masters and the emotionally invincible elites, because whether you got earned or you're getting earned secure attachment and you're working with all that child stuff or whatever it is your story is, that's where some of us are already there. So with the full moon, things come up so that you can continue to metabolize, to process. Oh, and for us mystics, we do get to pick up on the entire globe and beyond. So yes, but we're not weighted down by that which is human suffering, because again, anyone who is an enlightened being knows, thanks Buddha, they have their own choice. Thanks, Jesus. So God is discerning equanimous love, and everybody owns that truth that is theirs to process their sensations, images, behaviors, affects, and meanings, and not project. And so when I'm getting to be in the presence of projection, I'll know, because I don't have vulnerability. I have where I'm going to be, it's okay. You don't need to do much, and that's it. And you don't actually do anything, because a person who has not achieved their secure attachment is the one who can say, I want it. And if they don't, to be saluted is just one of the many examples of people. Okay, so it's nice to be able and be vulnerable. One is what I'm going to say. It is not fun when you meet those who have safety behaviors, but they're not actual assholes, and they're not Lucifers or monsters, and they don't make people who are vulnerable want to watch their back, because what I really know is that your lies are going to come forth. You're going to be somebody who has no energy by the end of the day, and there's just a bunch of shit that I'm going to notice as you wither away, because you chose hell inside your own body instead of learning how to use these bright sides of neuroplasticity. Zen master, really, it's that easy. So ventral vagal state, I am here to say, be yourself mindfully with integrity, and that's why you will not have to worry. Don't you worry about a thing. So when I got to have a scare, I didn't know about attachment trauma. And today I do, and I think, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Because I didn't get a conversation. I just got a random, like nothing had ever happened. And I was worried sick for like a whole month. I thought that I had lost someone I loved, and they didn't care. And this is where there's more than just that one story about individuals not caring at all, that I'm going to go to sleep tonight, and you actually don't know that some people worry about other people. But then there are some people who I, for example, know for sure, like, they're so not a good friend, because they don't call me every fucking minute of the day. I got one person who's not my friend. Get this, because this human being, and I was so like, what? Because they had another person tell Maria that I am not her friend anymore. I will never speak to her again. And I know her, so I know she's serious. She was serious at the time. And this is why. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most ridiculous, childish thing. I had a boyfriend at the time who did not, in our long distance relationship, remotely do any of this shit. And I'm like, yeah, wow, okay, this is absurd. So when you have immature, emotional people, as you grow older, you just think nothing. Now that I'm attachment trauma informed, I think nothing. I think avoidant, ambivalent, disorganized, attached category human beings can go to therapy when they're ready to become securely attached. No, when they got their earned secure attachment, then they're going to be able to have fun if they're a functional child adult. If they want to present us their child's conditions, no, not interested. We ain't your mama, we ain't your papa. So codependent people can go hang out with each other, pat each other on the back like the flat earthers do, and go hang out. Other than that, we will be able to, again, yes, we're all children inside, but we all can handle words, because big girls and boys, they do a cry, yeah. That's what they do. So I'm 45 again. Age does matter, at least for me, because I have experiences. But the self-mastery comes because I'm an elite. And I'm emotionally invincible, because really, dude, the fact that you think that a person with spiral means you don't know the difference between ruminating and using your prefrontal cortex. If you knew the difference, then you would know that some of us walk like an Egyptian. Do you know why? Love and love equals neutrality and duality. And that's why would I want about anything? God gave me a good life. I am very, very honored that I have been gifted the easy life. I'm lucky, Gary B. Remember, just say lucky. That way they think it's luck. Because I don't really think I need to make it sound like I did so much work. Because I didn't. Emotions aren't weighing me down. It's not laundry. It's called alleles. I guess my window of tolerance to affect just bigger. That's my, there you go. I got lucky. Does that, because people seem to think that if we're this, but she's so lucky. Her life's perfect. Why does she have panic attacks? Freeze response has no age group. And people like to think they could define it for my body. They don't actually understand. They don't own the body. And I won't have words because my first 3 years of life, that's why therapy for couples always, because those first 3 years, there's no memory. No, there's implicit. My tone of voice can trigger something, which is why I won't be shaming, blaming, faulting, or revenging anyone. Which is why when exiles or protectors come out of the woodwork, you don't shame them. You learn how to work with the person who's working with them, because they're the ones who say, here's my protector, and here's what I did, and here's where I acknowledge it, and here's what I plan to do so that I can stop every time and actually hear. So a person who's aware, they're observing, and they're accountable of their own child parts, they will know when they're coming in. I have plenty of people tell me the truth. I don't ask them. They just tell me because they know I won't judge them. And then I say, but now that you know, you can actually choose a replace activity. Don't do the spiteful thing because you're upset. Do the right thing and actually don't be spiteful and say, I'm really, really, what? Are you under pressure? I'm really sad. I'm really frustrated. I'm really irritated. What's the word? Use a different word when you notice you decide. Be creative with your mind. You can learn how to do this. It's very easy. When I get spiteful, instead of being spiteful, I'm going to say the word, and you use a word. This just came to my mind. So that's how you work with mindset, and that's how you work with yourself so that you stop bringing forth. But you know what people say? But Maria, all people are assholes. Why should I not be an asshole too? It's hard to stop. I'm going to be an avoidant and let you know how awful you all are, because you know what? Everyone's fucked up. Fucked up doesn't mean immature emotionally. Just mean, and really fucked up? What? No, I'm not Let's make the world a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are children dying and people. So let's make the world a better place for you and for me. And that way we can try and be sustainable. So when you're a mindful person and spiritual especially, you know God always wins, but you also know that you do have the choice. 2 hands, 2 feet. You bring your best A game. Thanks, Jesus. Thanks, Buddha. Thanks, all of the religious whoever's you are, because I don't know all your names, but at the end of the day, we're all spiritual. And really, Buddha, I make fun of, because, again, there's people who say, if you don't believe that this life, this very existence is suffering, then you're not a Buddhist. No, I'm not a Buddhist. I opened the book. I said he sat under a tree. Jesus walked with the people. He was rich. Jesus got a thing of thorns on his head. He wore crap like Buddha. Why? I'm a grown woman. I know why. Don't you worry. The ventrivagal toning. I got it. I got meditation helps integration. I know all about it. Thanks, Sadhguru, for making it really accessible. And all of the Buddha psychologists, please allow yourselves to know I respect everything. I'm just saying, it ain't suffering in here. I'm emotionally invincible because I got Jesus and Holy Spirit and God just keeps telling me, Maria, stop judging human suffering. Hey, God, I'm succeeding. A fucking waste of your time. And I'm succeeding. Why? Because these smart therapists, that's why. They're the ones who humble a person that is emotionally invincible, which is why, again, it's a window welcome right here. It's a choice. It's called, why would I close my heart when you're all being cowards and assholes and not playing actual life, like for real? And that's where it stops. So with ascension energies, like I said, you keep doing more of Dharma if you've chosen it. Obviously, if you choose Karma, 3D, 4D, they're stagnating in it. It's done. It's a done deal. Okay, I'm going to have to say it. I build systems and I establish order. I'm a perfectionist. I fix what is wrong. There's nothing really wrong, because at the end of the day, I can be emotionally mature and invincible and a self-master, which is what I'm offering those who want it because they can have it. Or I don't have to, and I can go hang out with a fancy lady man in suit who tell me all about how amazing it is to basically not go to therapy and to be pretending to have emotions. I find the missing piece or link, which basically means, simply put, if you're not a whole self yet, the missing piece is you go and do therapy first. Then you say, I'm cool with resiliency, Maria, yeah. And you say, I want to do restored embodiment, yay. And I say, okay, cool, because you don't want to drag a pain point around. Otherwise, you say, what does resilience even mean? So you're telling me that I have to put up with shit, Maria? I don't want to put up with shit. And then I say, go to the Zen master. He's got laundry for you, and he has a title. And therefore, you can look really shiny as a star with no horse. Because you won't have the integrated brain, so you won't have stamina. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Yeah, so do I need to make it sound elite to be restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating? I'm just going to let you know I have it already in me. I can't prove it, and I'm not going to try. People think I pretend to not suffer. I love when they do that because I'm like, wow, they actually don't want me to be happy in life. It's pretty sad. I'm not going to say anything. My mother taught me not to say anything that's not nice. One person I'll never forget, you fake smile as they're being triggered for some other reason that's not mine. And I'm like, I don't fake smile, but I do like smiling. Why would I want to cry in a screen? That's actually a private moment, and I've noticed how people use it against you. Yes, that's sad. That's happened. Yes. Oh, many more times than I can count. I got a full jar. You know what? It's done nothing except for let me know that person, that person, that person, that person, that person. It's not betrayal. They don't know how to be this, and I won't ever share my 1-year-old with you again. And I am spiting you, but not because I'm spiting you. It's because you didn't comfort me. And so if you want to call that spite, fine. But there's no reason for me to actually bring my 0-1-year-old. So FYI, this is why we don't spiral down. Emotionally invincible people are emotionally secure, non-traumatized people. So one time, 2 time. By the 3rd time, you've shown me your pattern, being a person of integrity and having strong character. You've simply shown me your safety behavior. You have an MO. That's your shit, not mine. I don't need to be vulnerable with you because you don't actually care to comfort, support me as a safe haven. So this is the part of where with our poly secure community, we have different types of relationships depending on your dynamic. But I got to learn from Jessica Fern and really mono-amory. But I'm going to say this, a mono-amory, mono-secure person will have the luck that I have been sharing with you too. 1, therapy, honey, that's it. No equation, this is non-negotiable. And polyamory, same thing goes. Because if you're going to be a safe haven, secure base, it's only because you both are functional child adults. And people go to therapy and don't want to be vulnerable. Nuh-uh. That ain't gonna cut it for women, men, or theys that are securely attached, emotionally, like I said, elite, invincible, call it whatever you want, but a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable person is what you have in the forefront. Ventral energy. The minute that you are serious, then it's gonna be okay. So the safe haven, you know why it's important? Because again, you have child parts, so do I, and I'm not going to be in a house and in an environment that I don't have the capacity to be actually all of what is the 0 to 16. Again, it comes with you. So when you know how to stand up for yourself, that's why I'm an empowered human voice. That's why I'm the unconsciously loving with flaws and imperfections, imperfect child. Mood swings are not something that I welcome or accept or justify or say, let me pat you on the back. No, they are what they are. It means you have safety behaviors. Get rid of them. Work with some shit. No, work with yourself and don't bring them to me. That's it, which is why people don't like me. And I'm not codependent. And I'll use me as a story. I remember this one time I got this person who said this thing to me. And in my head, I'm like, that's mean. And then I said, no, it's not. They're just being straight with you and you don't like it. That's all this is. And you don't like it because what if... So I knew what was going on. So this is the part of when you are a securely attached, again, non-traumatized, self-led person is what I'm sharing. You don't have many attachment wounds. You don't have many ruptures. You know how to repair ruptures and splinters. So you're not afraid, no abandonment, rejection, none of those wounds, okay? And you don't build a list of everyone's going to fuck me in the ass based on what? 10 people, 20, 500? Really? Really? You're going to base that entire human species? There's 8 billion. And you're going to want to make a blanket statement after you've not even met maybe, 10,000? I don't even know if you can get to that number. I'm one human. I know I travel. I've met a bunch of people, but I'm pretty sure it's not even a little speck. So I would not in any way, shape, or form say My faith has been broken in humanity. One, you're all children of God. Two, there's no Lucifer. There's safety behaviors. Three, when I meet your Cusco attitude, I don't need to walk on eggshells. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Nothing. Because I won't be shaming you the way you were shamed in your own household, but I won't be friends with you. Your energy's enough to be saluted. And when you do at least you looked at me, I won't do shit. I'll just look at you, reiterate my statement, which is, I'm not friends with you. Say hi to my friend and move on with my life. And then you will finally have gotten it after 3 years of me consistently doing the same thing. But you got it off your chest. Bravo, bravo. I'm happy for you because you got it off your chest. I maintain my healthy self-worth, my healthy boundaries without making the one characterological distinction that I learned as a kid. Don't cast a stone. I'm so sorry, God, I was casting a stone. You're bad, you do drugs. You're bad, you do this. You're bad. Hey, you're lawyers and you do cocaine. That aren't you hypocrites? Because aren't you supposed to follow the law? Oh, you're so naive. Am I now? You're going to go with a professional who does cocaine? You do realize they put holes in their head, right? That they also get affected. You do realize there's actually safety behaviors involved. Do you realize they have a pathology? That's not an intelligent brain you got in front of you. And it's not an intelligent brain because it's not an intelligent mind because they don't have an integrated brain. They also seem to think they're cool. And I don't think you're cool at all. And no, you're not Lucifer or monster. So if you're an idiot, sure, I'm naive. If you're smart, you're going to notice what a professional is. They're an experienced person for what they do, and they don't give people on the pat on the backs, and they don't ask for shortcuts. Neuroplasticity, bright sides, dark sides. Bright sides, heal your brain. Dark sides, become an asshole who says, they're not invincible. You won't ever know because you're not invincible. And instead, what we are. So come and join us if you want to be mentally, emotionally, physically, invincibly, humanly speaking. It's called restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating. There's neuroscientists who let me know, and I'll let you know, the flow state, amazing. Now, does it mean we like to have to deal with those who suffer life, with those who are assholes, with those? No. No. Okay, so as we close on out, before I finish making fun of people and just in general, I was going to say something about this, is that it's a sad story when vulnerability speaks to you words that are, it would have been really nice to meet just genuine vulnerability. But it's understandable that people are very afraid of it because the fetal position with the bear will get you eaten. And that is the story of our ancestry, which is why they will go to therapy and not want to be vulnerable. And I'll be like, yeah, that's bullshit, honey. If you don't know how to be vulnerable, what is this? Nope, it ain't gonna cut it because I will know. Because not only I'm a mystic, I'm spiritual, I'm mindful, I'm an embodied brain who's in my prefrontal cortex. And as Dr. Daniel Siegel presented, when we're in a room, you're a guitar string, I'm a guitar string, and I'll pick up on everything. And he even taught me how to differentiate more because I don't have energy vampires. No, I have people who don't own their sense of self. And when they're getting off of shit that is disgusting, again, it's not an energy vampire. And when they're in your energy sphere, it's not a black magic shit. That makes me think of El Dorado. And you better bet you can't manipulate this brain because you don't have any power over me. I'm a child of God. I told God, I made some decisions, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, and how dare you? No, I said, you could have given both Cain and Abel. That's just really, really, and don't you dare come to me and tell me to do anything with any of people. I will not be harming anyone. And when someone said, what about yourself? Excuse me, don't you know? I am pro-choice, but I'm pro my life because it's not about the sin thing. It's that I like life. And God has gifted me a charmed life. So please stop. You're actually offending me right now. No, you're not. I'm kidding. But when I did get presented the equation, so was it about like only with people? I was like, yeah, what I said is I will not be, unless I'm physically threatened. I don't know what's going to happen then, but I'm 4'9". So when you love to love, you love to love. Live, laugh, learn, expand, not cast stones. Again, I would not, but I understood the question, and then I understand it from a suicidal idealization. I got a bunch of courses on it, and human secondary consciousness. So again, self-mastery is because you own this. And then when you have relationships that are true, you have this. And when you have people who are protecting, you'll know it. And that's why it's a bullshit statement to me as a securely attached, non-traumatized person to hear somebody say that secure attachment, we just have a foundation. I know that you don't know my foundation because you just spoke words that make it very clear that you spiral in thoughts. that are of an insecure person. And so an insecure human being ruminates. A securely attached, self-led person doesn't ruminate. So there's no way that you will actually think of things. Also, grown-ups taught me what children do and that they're crying out for help. The suicide thing, yeah. They also shared it with the entire classroom about cutting and asking for help and not, not telling someone. And the day after that they explained this to us, I saw two girls come into classroom. This is called an explicit memory, with cuts all over the place. And I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Because I know that if I tell on them, they're going to be angry because I ratted them out. I'm supposed to be worried because they just taught me that this means that they need help. And I don't know them, and I don't know what to do, and I don't understand. They're confusing because the grown-ups just told us what that means, which is, why don't you go ask a counselor for help? And when people say that they trust their peers more than grown-ups, no, I trust grown-ups. And now I'm a grown-up myself, and I know why I trust grown-ups. I'm a Peter Pan who knows good grown-ups. And my mom taught me what bad grown-ups do, and I said, Mom, she scared us. And she got fired. That's a babysitter. And I don't know if both of us went to her, but it was Mom. She made us cry. She wanted to give us a syringe. And that's why grown up teaches children how not scare my children. And, that's where I'm the same protector of my own child. So, we don't spiral down. Mixed messages are not mixed messages. They actively tell me you don't care about my emotional plane, and so you're not a safe haven. And you can be a secure base, sure, that's fine. That's very easy to do. Hey, what'd you do today? Hey, how'd you do it? Hey, yep, all great. Yeah, no, I'm doing awesome. And when people notice it, oh no, but I can handle, it's okay. I know how to handle my nervous system. I got panic attacks, so, really, this is how it works, okay? So being vulnerable is something I cherish, but the minute that you will have shown me your hand is the minute that I will know that you're not actually a safe haven, secure base. And it's not because you're doing it out of spite or no, it's a physiological state. So people who take ownership and are self-masters, they don't actually let things sit that they know that they've brought into the table. And they will take ownership and not bring it into the table, meaning they'll give you, here's what I'm doing, here's how I'm working on it, here's how I know and when instead they don't, and they find a way to excuse themselves, and then they find a way to just pretend that they're doing great again, you leave it alone. So ascension energies, they're really amazing. Have a wonderful full moon. Be back if you do enjoy self-mastery, and tomorrow we're going to have our audio episode, or after tomorrow, but you can tune in on Spotify because I don't put the audio ones on our lovely YouTube channel, and these are episodes that are part of a series, so they're going to have the same ending. I'm going to try to change up the title, but again, I'll also make sure to post it. And if there's one thing that you can take away, is also the beauty of being able to just love. And I love that the younger generation have Terrio, Patrick Tian, that they can grow into not having dramatic, not true loving relationships, because love, and it's not drama, and it's not something visceral in the way of me having to be worried that the shoe's gonna drop. And as for relationships, again, Manny, Diego, Sid, so more securely attached integrated brains, the better it is. And the ones who want to get here can, and the ones who don't will know them. They look fancy in their suits, and they keep telling you that we're not emotionally invincible, because they don't have the capacity to be in the fetal position with their partner for real. And that actually is very sad. So again, it's really nice to be able to know that we're in a different time. We don't need to be afraid of the bear as much, but still, when people don't get to be in a safe haven, secure base, it's sad for them. But therapists, they help all couples, Terrio, to have that passion and to be independent. And then the ones of you who are already independent, you know what I'm talking about, straight shooter. And that's why it's not an equation. When someone says no to therapy, that's a red flag. When someone says yes, therapy is a good idea, a good one, that's great, green light, because that means they're aware they don't know their 3-year-old either. Now, if instead we have completely working together vulnerable people, but there's going to have to be actions. And what I mean is, again, I gave you example. if you use any of my vulnerable moments in an equation, you will address it. Instead, if it's not addressed, that's your first sign that that is not a person who's aware and taking ownership of their exiles and protectors. Those exiles and protectors have a role. They protected the person, again, of attachment trauma informed. So you just remember that it's not needing you. If you're independent, you're not a martyr superior. You don't lecture people. You're not their mama. You're not their papa. You're not their anything. You're not their therapist. No one's doing half of work of shit. Okay, so that's the part of where, to me, I have a couple and or more friends in their relationships. They already began at the very beginning to talk about being able to be in therapy together. To me, it's not necessarily too soon or too late, because if somebody is planning to build something, but you want to make sure the person and or people, however it is your dynamics are on the same page. So what I mean is, we talk about it, so you make future plans. At that point, as things solidify, then it's okay, so this is what we're going to work with. And the ones who have told me they don't want it, usually it's because they're hiding something from themselves. Again, if you say good therapist, it's because you know there's the yellow flags, red flags, and green flags. I got a good video from Nutshell Lady if you want to watch it. So full moon, a lot of ascension, a lot of excitement, a lot of vulnerability. We'll be back with more. Again, tune on in and have a great one.